Our first three-parter of Stormbringer magazine, issue 76, 77 and 78. The Stormdrake Guard are now here to slay. Hello and welcome to The Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games. And today we're going to be doing issues 76, 77 and 78 of our continuing series of Hachette Collections Stormbringer magazine. Now the reason we're doing 3 issues in a row is that these are the 3 issues that give you the Stormdrake Guard. 2 beautiful little minis that's given to you over this collection of 3 issues. So before we look at the minis themselves, we'll have a look here at what you get in the magazine itself. Now these magazines are actually a little bit interesting because it allows you to finish a few stories, or it gives you a little story. So this is the finale of Spearhead. So it's a nice issue in the sense that you can kind of see the end of how that little short story is going. You have an elaborate how to build Stormdrake Guard part here, and as you can see there is a bit to it. These are big minis. So you have 2 dragons and 2 Stormdrakes, excuse me, and 2 Stormdrake riders. So there is nice versatility. You can do the Stormdrakes looking to the left or to the right, and there is also versatility in the minis here as well, that you can either equip them with swords or lances, and make one of them a kind of the section leader. Again, the wings are either up or down, but the deviation in the models tends to come with the looking left or looking right. So if you had bought this issue twice for a full section of 4 Stormdrake, you can make all the models look a little bit different just depending on the way you turn the head or what weapons you give to the actual minis. So nice versatility here. You have the Ironjaw's battle trait here, and after that you have the Last Stand, a test of metal, which is the actual battle plan for this issue, and it gives you the details on that with the usual spoils of war for Alliance of Order, Alliance of Destruction. So that was the first part. So you got 1 big sprue in this one. In the next one, you got the other sprue, which I don't think you could build both Drakes without having both 76 and 77. In this issue, of course, you get the finale of the story Venom. So again, another nice issue to kind of finish off the stories with, and of course, beautifully illustrated, or beautifully photographed, I think, with the models inside. You have the Terrors, which I always like these because it's written from the perspective of a scribe, so it talks about the anatomies of Troggots. You have here the Stormdrake Guard. Now they're, again, very interesting because there's something called the Pact Draconis. The Pact Draconis is a formal alliance between Krondus, son of Dracothian, Karzai the Scarred, and Sigmar. The Draconith honor this pact by fighting alongside Sigmar's warriors with their human allies, and some of them they're willing to bear on their backs. Only a select few, of course, so I don't think that you can just hop up on a Stormdrake without being very, very good friends with them. Again, it just gives you some of the background for it. You have the Champion's Ashki, again, some more background for your troops. And you have here how to paint guide. So again, it goes into nice little detail because you're coming towards the end of the series. So you're touching up an awful lot of little things like the Marshcrawler Sloggoth, and some of the other classic models such as Zandir, the Lord Aquila's fur cloak, and of course some of the banners that you've had on some of the other minis. And of course finally the Spirit of Dorthu, just to give nice little touches up to the end if you're following the paint guide here. And finally you have the battle plan, which is the Last Stand Severed Lines, which again has a lot of the units that you use and the usual spoils of war at the end. And we also have a kind of a technique sheet that comes with it in terms of undercoating, recess, things like that. Again, a nice little thing for your collection. And finally, in the final issue of the 3-part series of the Stormdrake Guard, you have the finale for Nature's Gambit. So it's a great series of issues to kind of finish off the stories that you have been reading. And there is a nice little bit of reading here. So a nice little reward for sticking with the magazine. You have here how to paint guide with the Stormdrake Guard. Now, it's interesting. I deviated from how I painted this normally. I started painting on these because I have to try and keep up with the pace of the magazines that is released. So the paint guide here seems to be one I'd recommend. but when I was painting the issues, I had to look up a few different YouTubers, a few different guides, and I ended up, I won't say doing my own thing, and I won't say it was a happy accident, but I found a fairly simple way for it to do it if you're not too confident with your painting. However, if you are confident with your painting, I think this is quite a good guide here. There is a lot of little work in it, but it does give nice little depths to the dragon, or to the Stormdrake here, as you can see. So mine was more of a kind of a generic wash with an unusual color I didn't expect, but of course it goes into every single little detail. So again, you have the chance to do a very nice, a very lovely job on these Stormdrakes here. So that is the actual paint guide. Again, I would urge you to pay attention to this one because it's come out in a very nice kind of fashion here. I think the paint guide on this one is exceptional and is probably better than the one I ended up with. You have here the War Scroll for the Stormdrake Guard, so of course there's a lot of nice little information here, and they do damage. They're good. There's a lot of attacks, and of course they're obviously mobile because they're flying, so a lot of really interesting little things. They're great fun models to play with. You have the War Scroll tutorial and how to actually use them, and you have the battle plan, which is the last stand, poisoning the well with the Alliance of Order, and of course you have the deployment here, and no doubt you get the chance to use your Stormdrakes in battle with the spoils of war. So with no further ado, let's have a look at the actual Stormdrakes themselves. Now, they are of course stunning models. I don't know what else to say really. I mean, they really stand out. This is definitely a jewel or a gem in the actual collection, but they are finicky and were difficult to, well, not difficult to paint, but they're intimidating to paint, I should say. The colors I used for these Stormdrakes, and of course you can use any color because the drakes can be any different type, is Gryph-Charger Grey, and I didn't glue them to the base, so just so I could manhandle them and kind of show them to you a little bit, but there is incredible detail on them. So again, like I said, the head here can either go to the left or go to the right, and the Drake works out really well. What I did use was Gryph-Charger Grey. I'd initially just wanted to use a very light wash of it, but I made a mistake and put in too much and it darkened it up, and I thought, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. So I just went to town with the Gryph-Charger Grey. I didn't use any other paint, and this is the result I had gotten. It's not the best result in the world, but you know, if you're under pressure or if you're not too confident in painting, I thought it wasn't that terribly bad either. The model is very well made, that you can kind of, that the ink naturally looks out all the scales and gives a nice little impression of it. For certain little parts like the tufts of hair here, I put in a little bit of Space Wolf contrast just to kind of darken it up a little bit slightly, and here on the back I put a little touch of Gilman Blue, but apparently that's a paint you can't get anymore, so I suppose any other light wash blue. And the Stormcast Eternal, of course, I'm sure we're all sick of painting these guys at this stage, but the Drake itself I thought worked out kind of nicely. The wings here I didn't do the best job of, unfortunately, because I tried the same trick with Reichland Flesh Shade. So I based the entire model with Wraithbone, and I had thought that maybe if I did the Reichland Flesh Shade that it would have the same similar effect here on the back with the scales. Now I did darken up here a little bit, just trying to give some little natural aspects, and of course Rakarth Flesh for the bones and talons does make it stand out a little bit, but for what is a job from a man who has never ever painted dragons before, I didn't think it was too bad, and it wasn't beyond the ability of anyone who would be trying or painting these things for the first time. So it's not the best, but again, you can tidy it up. I could go over this a little bit more. Again, the same on this side, that, you know, it's a Drake, he's been in battle, and the kind of the different shades of colors I think would kind of suit for it, so it would make it look a little bit more realistic. Again, it was a fun model to make. It took quite some time to assemble because obviously the wings you glue on have 3 points of contact, but they're heavy. So it's not something that I would rush build because, you know, it's too nice a model to kind of hurry through. And this, of course, is the other one. So I'm just going to take him off the base as well. So Again, the big difference is the wings go up and the wings go down. Now, I think on this one I did a better job of the wings, because I think because they were going down, the Reichland Flesh Shade had less chance to pool, so it was kind of a more even spread. So I was quite happy with how that one came out. Again, it was the same thing with the Griff Charger Grey with a touch. This is what I was talking about with the Gilliman Blue here, just on the scales. I was trying to see if I could bring in different colors. And the other thing, of course, here is the dragon head is open, or the Stormdrake head is open, sorry. So again, really cool little models. I mean, this is, even if I never play it, this was a fun thing to paint, and a kind of a very interesting thing to paint. Again, like I never painted a Stormdrake before. So this also, I think, is the leader of the Stormdrake. So of course you have different helmets. So this was a unique helmet to this Stormdrake champion, whereas this Stormdrake champion was a more traditional one. But again, just Griff Charger Grey on the back and the scales, and Reichland Flesh Shade here on the sides. The breastplate for the Drakes kind of does most of the work here. I've seen an awful lot of Drakes where they would kind of put a kind of a color undertone here. Now, it was a little bit of a missed opportunity that I didn't do it, and I'm saying it to you in case you want to do it yourself. But nevertheless, the way the model is facing is kind of down anyway. So unless someone kind of picks up the model and directly looks at it the way I have, they're not really going to notice the base. I would also advise to maybe not glue the dragons or the Stormdrakes to the actual pieces, because it just makes it easier to transport like this. Because if you're trying to transport something like this, it would be very cumbersome indeed. And to their credit, Games Workshop have made the base of this very robust, in the sense that, I don't know if you can pick it up here, but there's a kind of a little stick on top of the actual ball that allows this to sit on securely, firmly and snugly, so that there's not much give and take, that you can move the model quite easily. I mean, I wouldn't be throwing it around the place, but if you were to pick it up and put it down, it's not going to fly off and smash anytime soon. But again, this is the Stormdrakes in issues 75, 76 and 77, and I would say a very, very worthy addition to the magazine. They're something that stand out quite nicely, and were an intimidating paint, but also a pleasure to paint. So as always, if you enjoy these videos, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. And until next time, this is Sean from The Lucky Roll, signing off.